Pokemon. I've played Pokemon Go because obviously that thing took the world by storm. But I've never been a handheld gamer, and that's primarily what Pokemon games have been on. But this one with the open world look to it, obviously heavily inspired by Breath of the Wild. So I decided to try it out, and I'm pretty like I just got my first star, so I'm past that point, and I'm learning the whole basics of it. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it overall. I will say it's way dialogue heavy. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of
Yes.
dialogue.
In
Now
the
I don't know if that's
beginning.
oh man, there is a lot. I'm still like at a dialogue point in this game where every time I think I'm about to really go explore, more dialogue, more dialogue, more dialogue.
But there's
Again, I
kind of
get
a
it.
lot to know.
Yeah.
Like when it
Yes.
comes, especially like for you, Jeremy, you have literally no idea what Pokemon
Right.
even is, or
Right.
what HP or PP is, or what what types are good against other types and stuff. There's a lot to explain about Pokemon after 25 years of this franchise.
Is it just like
Yeah.
a tutorial that once you're through it, the game like really kicks off, or is it like consistently lots of dialogue?
It's scattered throughout. I would say there's a lot of story so far. I'm probably 5 or 6 hours in, and I've just started exploring out past the initial kind of starting area.
Well, what about Breath of the Wild? Since we like to compare the two, because there's obviously similarities. With Breath of the Wild, there's not that much dialogue. They just throw you in and you just learn as you go. So would you argue the same thing with that, where it's like, well, there's a lot to learn? Because there's a lot to learn in Breath of the Wild as well.
Yeah, I mean, for me, so as someone that, in Ryan's point, I don't know anything about Pokemon, and this is I think they recognize this is going to open up, not that Pokemon's ever had a problem with having players because it's a massive gaming franchise, but obviously it's going to open up different people to this franchise for the first time. So I do think that it helps me understand certain aspects of it. They're teaching you the basics of what a Pokemon is and, how this works, how that works. To me, it's still a little too dialogue heavy for my comfort level because it's just way too much. But that's just at this point. I guess I'm a few hours into the game now, maybe 2-3 hours into it, I guess. But I think that I've heard from some reviews that it will, once you get past that, the exploration kind of brings it, opens it up a little bit. And that's what you're really interested in from this perspective. Yeah, Breath of the Wild doesn't have a lot of that tutorial stuff. I mean, it has the basic kind of, bullet points, but it's not like this. But I do think that there's Breath of the Wild is a little more simple in terms of what the game is and what the world is, whereas Pokemon's a lot more complicated and a lot more complex in terms of what you're actually trying to do and what you're trying to accomplish. So I do kind of understand that perspective. But overall, as a newbie to the franchise, I'm enjoying it. I think it's cool as hell. Obviously, the graphics aren't the greatest in the world. It's kind of bland. It could have more colors. It could pop better. But I love the mechanics, I think, work really good. It's really cool when you get into the battles with the different Pokemons, just trying to figure that aspect of it out. And I'm sure for a Pokemon player, that's nothing new. But Ryan, someone that's played Pokemon a lot, and this is a big change for the franchise. Do you think this is a positive change for the franchise?
I think there's going to be a lot of. This is like the next step. The real, I think, big change was Pokemon Sword, which came out a year or two ago. I want to show you what that looked like here. This is what Pokemon Sword looked like. So very similar in terms. This is like the first time you got to do this in terms of seeing like all these Pokemon around here, crouching, running through grass. So that all like existed before. But now the idea of you're like throwing the balls at them, you're battling, and you're able to move around the battlefield as they're battling. That's all the stuff that's like completely ridiculously changed. And I think there will be some like hardcore people that don't necessarily like this, the fact that they're going this direction. I like it because I've played probably about half of the Pokemon entries out there. I'm not going to do every single year. I'm not going to do every single remake they put out. But I played a lot from original Game Boy to Game Boy Color to Game Boy Advance to DS to 3DS. And this is like what Legends is to me the way I've always wanted to play Pokemon. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if some people are going to reject it, but to me, I love it. I don't even know if the game's fucking good yet, to be honest with you. I don't know, but I know that that's all I can think about is playing more of it.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, you're pretty hooked on it. You're pretty hooked on it.
Yeah.
Krista, so you're a Pokemon fan and obviously a Breath of the Wild fan, and you're enjoying this game from everything I know, correct?
Yes, I do love like how people have been pointing out the similarities between the two, because yes, it does give you a Breath of the Wild feel. Though there are some things I wish they would change, just small minor details, you know, like I think you would agree to the saving process. That was hard for me to find, you know, where you want to save your process.
Yeah, I remember you had to tell. I was like,
Yeah, I have to explain it to you.
I needed to
Though,
run, and I was like, well, how do I do this? And you had to show me.
yeah, though I think I don't know if Ryan maybe can confirm this. Isn't there an autosave to it?
There is an autosave,
Okay,
and it actually autosaves like fairly often, but I'm not sure how often it is.
Okay.
But they do tell you exactly how to save the game. There's dialogue that tells you. So.
There's dialogue. There you go. And then another thing I would change, again, these are all small, minor details, so it's not even that important, but just to Nick point at it, when you catch a Pokemon, a little firework appears. And at first I was confused by that. I thought that it was escaping, you know, but that's it. Other than that, I love this game. It's very, very fun.
Yeah, I mean, like this is the cover. I think this is pretty close to the cover art for both games. So I mean, the Breath of the Wild thing, like this is, you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
it's pretty, and even like there's sound effects in this game that are similar to Breath of the Wild. You know what I mean? Like it's the movement, everything feels Breath of the, and I don't think that's a bad thing at all. Now I know Johnny, you had a few thoughts on that earlier when we were talking. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, well, I think it's a little bit different in this case because, like, as we were talking about with Pokemon, I do think this specific community, this specific following, they've wanted kind of an open world following for a while. I know my brother has, and he's a way bigger Pokemon fan than I am, and so it kind of fits this universe in the sense that like there's Pokemon all over the place, and they're going to be, you know, in their own like specific habitats and that sort of thing. So it works in that sense. I'm just getting, as somebody who's been playing video games since I was 4 years old, because my dad was a gamer when I was born. And so as like a retro gamer, I'm just getting tired of like the industrialization of just video games and how everything needs to like be the same game. And so for a while, everybody knows this, it was, oh, we need more battle royales in every shooter. Every shooter has to have a battle royale. And now it's like every single adventure game, there needs to be some kind of open world setting. Even on my personal channel, there's people in the comments section saying, what I really want for the next Metroid game is an open world game. And it's like, you fundamentally don't understand what makes Metroid games special if you're asking for just a completely open Metroid game from the very beginning. Like that doesn't function with what Metroid has always been. And so I'm just a little bit weary and cautious of that. So that was some of the opinions I was sharing. But again, in this specific instance, I'm letting it slide with Pokemon just because I do think it works for this specific universe.
And I also just think that they've been putting out like annual releases for Pokemon, basically kind of doing the same thing in the same template for 2 decades, you know, and they've started to switch it up with more recent entries. And I think it's a good thing. That doesn't mean that you can't also at the same time, you know, continue maybe every other time, put out your traditional entries, maybe for those people. But I like the fact that they're kind of broadening out like this.
Yeah. And I want to clarify, it isn't that I don't like Battle Royale or that I don't like open world. I freaking loved Breath of the Wild. I just don't like how it feels like originality and creativity is being squashed in the sense that everything needs to be like this same kind of formula, you know, type setting, you know. So that's
it's kind of like how the movies went with everything needed to be the Dark Knight, you know, after that, and everything was Inception posters. Who was going to say something?
It also comes down to just there's an obsession with the amount of hours a game takes. We saw it recently with Dying Light 2 when they bragged about how it was going to take 500 hours to 100% it, and everyone lost their minds, saying I'm not going to play it if it takes me 500 hours to complete it, and they had to backtrack and go, no, that's just if you 100% the story's like 20 hours. So one of the things that an open world does, it allows you to just essentially put little busy work all over the map that people will go around and complete, just so you've got an arbitrary time that you can tell people this is what the game's for. So I think there's definitely an argument for, especially with single-player games, just a small, like more tightly made game, which is better for all the time you play it, just than making a big open world where you wander off and there's not really much to do once you get out there.
Yeah. Well, I personally think that this is going to be a massive success from the response I've seen. It seems because this is obviously a huge franchise, and I think with the install base of the Nintendo Switch, I think this is going to be a massive home run. So we've got Ryan, someone who's played a lot of Pokemon. He likes it. I'm a newcomer to the series. I like it. Chris has been playing Pokemon for a while. She likes it a lot. Now, Lethal, you're somebody that's played Pokemon, but you're not. Are you not really interested in trying this one?
I played pretty much every Pokemon right up until Emerald. I even liked Mystery Dungeon. Back then, there used to be like 400 Pokemon. Then there's like 1,000. And I think the designs of Pokemon went drastically downhill around G4. But I remember seeing the trailer for this and thinking it looked really cool. But I've watched a lot of Ryan streaming it, and I don't know. It just seems too different for someone like me to come back to after skipping generations of Pokemon.
It's different. Like it's 100% different, and in some ways, like you used to like walk through the grass for hours to find a Pokemon that you knew happened to be on Route 19 at this time of day. You don't have to do that anymore, but you do have to like grind out a lot of catching. But it feels like you're always in motion. The idea that I'm throwing a Pokeball at some stupid Pokemon that's not looking to help fill out my Pokedex, turn around and throw my Pokemon to a tree so he can get some berries and collect stuff for me before that Pokemon's even caught, and then just continue on is crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm having a good time with it.
Part of the Pokemon experience was having to get a group of friends. For me, it was cousins, and we'd be like, right, we're going to figure out the best strategies. Who's going to restart the game to get the different starters? We used to do like the clone glitching, where you clone glitched with rare candies, and you exploit the Pokemon. Remember the daycare center with like the breeding programs? You exploit the breeding programs so you could breed like Charmanders and all that when you're on G3, and you trade them to other people. Like, to me, it was all playing Pokemon was a lot bigger than playing Pokemon. Like, there was a full strategy of a group of people you had to do if you wanted to get every Pokemon, and this just seems a bit more condensed in that regard. But I might be completely wrong on that. But one thing that I have been wondering is, because like obviously you're walking around and they're all running around the grass and you can see them and all that, what happens when you see something like Rayquaza, which is huge?
Yes, so there's something called Alpha Pokemon, and the first time I ran into one, it was a Rapidash. It was a level 40 Rapidash Alpha Pokemon. I had no idea what it is because it hadn't explained it to me yet. I was like, "There's a Rapidash here." All right, I tried to like sneak up on him, didn't freaking work. I ended up having to fight him, and he beat the living fuck out of me. Like, it just completely destroyed me. Like, that's it. He just wrecked me. There's nothing I could do. Also, the Pokemon attack you, so you faint. Like, your character will faint, and you'll lose items if you faint. So you're literally dodging Pokemon attacks if you don't sneak up on them the right way, or if you don't throw your Pokemon quick enough, which is another thing that's crazy. But to me, this is how Pokemon would actually be. Like, if I put myself in that world, this is what Pokemon would be like. You'd see these idiots running around out there. You see a bunch of stupid Bidoofs that don't know any better, just wandering around, coming right up to you. And you'd have Pokemon that would attack you. So,
can we talk about how good the music is in this game? The
I don't
music
care
is so
about
damn. Oh my god, it's so good. I know you don't, but Ryan has to make sure he doesn't completely praise this game. But no, the music is so good. I love the feel and the vibe of that. So Mark, I know you haven't played Legends yet. Are you going to play this? And how do you feel about Pokemon overall? Like,
I'm not gonna play this just because I'm not really a Pokemon guy. X-Ray Girl, my wife, will definitely be playing it. I know that she's been working for the last 2 days, so she hasn't got a chance to. But I think she's gonna be streaming it tomorrow. That's actually secretly why I was kind of asking about the tutorial, because if it was, I'd be like, honey, play the tutorial before you start.
That's what I did. Yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah,
because I can imagine starting I don't have a lot of experience with Pokemon, but I do have a lot of experience with JRPGs. JRPGs in general, like Japanese role-playing games, are very front-loaded with world building and tutorial stuff usually. So there's usually like a solid 2 to 3 hours where you're in the intro and you'll eventually get through it, and then the gameplay loop will sort of start. But that there's often very heavy tutorial segments, and it sounded like this would be the same. I did think, though, that when you guys were talking about Breath of the Wild not really having a tutorial, I disagree with that. I just think it was integrated in a really interesting way, because they have you do those first few shrines where on each one of them you're getting a new ability, and all the puzzles are structured around that ability. So you get like a little pop-up of like, this is magnesis, you can pick things up with it and drop them over in different places, and then you have a puzzle where you then have to do that. You can't get through that puzzle, that shrine, until you've learned how to use those abilities. So by the time you're out of that dungeon, you know those abilities. And I find organic tutorials like that are usually a lot better than
100%.
here's a wall of especially for replays. Because man, there's nothing worse than going back and trying to replay a game like that you know inside and out, and having to be like, yeah, skip dialogue, skip. Okay, yes, I know how to play this game.
Yeah,
Well,
you're right
even-
about that. You're right.
Even
ahead,
with
Johnny.
the memories in Breath of the Wild, like there's 12 memories that you have to gather up, and that tells you the story of what Zelda's role is in all of this, what the champion's role is in all of this. And it's like you can get those whenever you want, but that's kind of organically like even telling you the story as you go along and gives you an understanding of how it's all playing out. And so, but that's very much spaced out. It isn't just like an exposition dump of here's what's going on all at once, you know?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Does this game follow the basic Pokemon structure? How you pick your starter? By the way, always pick the fire one.
Yes.
And do you take on whatever the equivalent is to Team Rocket? Do you go through the 8 gyms and do you take on the Elite Four? Does it still follow that basic structure?
No, I don't think there's gyms. So this one is you end up you're time traveling. They haven't really explained how or why, but you fall through a space-time rift, and you're there like before the first game. Like they just invented the Pokeball. They really have no idea about what Pokemon are. You're writing like your Pokedex, I'm pretty sure, is on paper and stuff. So it's they don't have gyms established because people aren't really doing that with Pokemon yet. There aren't very many people that even understand. So I think I think probably like the alpha Pokemon in some way are going to end up being the types of like gyms or whatever, if I had to guess, but I don't really know.
So are you saying this might be, is this a prequel of sorts then?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Okay.
For sure.
That makes sense.
So I guess they could have called it Pokemon Legends or Pokemon Origins, and they went with Legends.
God, thank God they didn't say Origins. Almost everything's either Legends or
Legends
Origins or Rises.
or
They could have said
Rise Up,
Pokemon
yeah.
Rises. Pokemon Rises.
Rise of the Pokemon.
Yeah, Rise of the Pokemon.
So
ahead,
right
Ryan.
now, basically your goal right now is to help this town, which is centered around these people that are survey teams. They're trying to learn more about Pokemon, but there's a lot of problems right now between the Diamond Clan and the Pearl Clan, who hate each other, but they both have different Pokemon right now that they kind of idolize that are going crazy, and they don't really know why. So that's kind of what the mission is in the start.
Do you have like your Professor Oak equivalent?
You do. And I've been making a lot of jokes about him, that he's not supposed to be around young children.
Just like Professor Oak, who used to hang around Ash's mum quite a bit when the dad wasn't there. But does it also have like, remember in the old ones, you could have your rival and you could name him anything you wanted to?
I don't think, I haven't seen being able to name him, and I don't know who your rival might be as of yet. No. But I think there's a chance that you might turn one of the clans against you, but I don't know. I have to find out. But I don't think you've been able to name your rival for a while.
Oh, really? See, that just shows you how far back I am with all this. I'm back with the link cable days, man.
That was when I played Lethal. Yeah, it was good old days. And neither of our names, I guarantee, neither of them are stream appropriate.
Yeah,
I think you guys, correct me
I
if
just
I'm
named it
wrong.
my brother's name.
With this though being called Pokemon Legends, like having a prefix that is not just Pokemon Arceus. Like this is a spin-off though, right? Like I'm assuming the intention is that the next Pokemon, whatever they call it, a color or a weapon or something, will be the next like main Pokemon game that'll be kind of more what Lethal is looking for. Whereas this seems like, hey, this is the more open world kind of third-person adventure game spin-off. Like it would be kind of like saying, I haven't played Halo in forever, but I played this Halo Wars game, and I'm just like, man, It's
What's going on?
It's different.
yeah, this is
Yeah.
not like the Halo I remember. It's like, yeah, well, it's a
That's a
real-time
fair
strategy
point.
spinoff. Like,
Yeah.
it's not.
I
the
don't
same
understand
type
how
of
the
game.
continuity of Pokemon works. So I mean, I guess Ryan or Krista can answer that better than I can. But like, Ryan, how does the continuity work? Like with this, like, are they all intertwined in the same universe, or is this potentially a spin-off game because it's titled Legends?
Well, they're in the same universe, and this is I guess it's a spin-off if you want to call it that, but it takes place before. So you have a kid who's living in like the current day of Pokemon, and he gets sucked into some time warp because some Pokemon's like, all the people that live here are absolute idiots, and they obviously need the help with a 15-year-old boy or girl, whoever you choose it's going to be. So you go there, and like you already understand kind of about Pokemon. Like that's pretty clear from like the dialogue options and everything, but they have no idea what's going on. This guy can't even throw a Pokeball. This professor, what an idiot. What a loser. He's got a Fauci arm on him. Can't even, he's like, I'm a Pokemon expert here, but I'm really bad at throwing Pokeballs. Can you help? What a loser.
I don't think, I might be wrong, but I don't think Mystery Dungeon was Legends. I think it was just called Pokemon Mystery Dungeon.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying, but Mystery Dungeon would be the spin-off suffix in that, or like Pokemon Stadium or Pokemon.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, overall, there's going to be a lot to discuss with this game. I'm enjoying it. I'm going to continue playing it. Chris is going to continue playing it. Ryan is. We'll see if anybody else on the panel, jumps into it. But that's kind of our overview of Pokemon Legends. Is it Arceus or Arceus? I'm not sure.
We'll say
I think
Arceus.
Yeah. So, I'm looking forward to getting further into the game. If you enjoyed this clip, it came from our Gaming with Geeks YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed over there, please do so. We do live streams. We do gaming content. We do gaming news. Several team members over there covering the latest gaming topics, and we would appreciate your support over there. Thank you guys. Have a great day, and we will talk to you later.